Welcome back to Phoenix Plays a Game. I am Phoenix. I am a chess expert and a risk master, hoping to get better at both. And the way I get better at both, at least in chess, is I start doing my tactics. This has really helped me immensely since I've been doing this series, and I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm going to do yet another run of survival mode on chess.com Puzzle Rush, helping to practice my tactics. Now, I've never been very quick with the mouse, and I've never really cared to be either when I play chess. So I have decided that I'm not going to do a timed series anymore, and turns out people don't really like it anyway. So we're going to go as far as we can. I'm hoping to get to 60 correct answers before I take 3 strikes. 62 is my all-time record, and if you watched the last series, you'll know that I got pretty close, and then I kind of just got a little tired and made a silly mistake. So we're going to start off with a back rank mate here. Same idea with this one. Usually the first, like, I don't know, 5 or so are back rank mates. And then we do the kissing queens where I put like a queen right next to a king like this. But not in this case, we're going to do a back rank mower. What we do is we look for a back rank square undefended. It's right there. We can take that and then we'll take a rook. And then that's mate, you see? Okay. Same formation. In fact, the screen didn't even change the view, right? These pieces were right there. So when we got a new puzzle, those pieces just never even moved. So we see this formation, and then we think about how we're going to checkmate. It's a back rank. And then and only then do we look for our piece that can do so, like this rook, or perhaps there would be a queen here or something like that. So I highly recommend when you look at any chess position, don't worry about what you can do. Worry about what your opponent can do, or at least where your opponent's pieces are. And here I just see a back rank formation. So then I start to look for how to complete the back rank, and it's like this. So we're just going to go check and then take the rook just like we did in the last puzzle. Mate. Okay. Next up, we want to see how we can mate yet again on the back rank. We see this formation, and so we go like this. Mate. And now we see a mate from the other side. And basically what you have to do is check that this square is uncovered. Or, it's covered by either a white piece or a black piece so that the king can't escape. Sometimes he can go to this square and get mated again anyway. For example, rook here, king here, and then like queen here would be mate if this square were blocked. Which it usually is because the white queen starts the game there. So that would be one way to do it. Rook here and then queen here. Sometimes you can even go, if the diagonal is open, queen in the corner, then queen right back. Okay, so that's just a simple way to back rank mate from the other side of the board. We're going to get that mate. You have to know this one. This is close to the opera mate. If this were a rook, this would be the opera mate from the famous game of Paul Morphy against the Duke and I think the Count at an opera. Famous game, the Duke and the Count played as a team against Paul Morphy, and he completed the game in such a style by putting a rook on the back rank. Okay. So what do we see? We see a naked king with almost no defenders. We only see a knight around him. And the pawn can't help very much. The rook can't help. The queen can't help. The bishop can't help. And the rook can't help. So a naked king is a big signal that you probably want to just put a kissing queen on him like this. And now we can look back and see, oh, that queen is protected by the bishop. So do you see how I work backward from the white pieces to what I need to accomplish to what can the black pieces do? That's how we find that mate. Okay, so again, I saw this kind of idea and I said, oh, can I just go right here with a queen? No, I cannot. So I also see, by the way, I'm getting checkmated on 2 different squares. So that's another big hint. And then I say, well, can I go queen here or bishop here? No, no. And then on the 3rd try, I see what I can do because it's a back rank formation. This square happens to be covered by a bishop. Remember earlier we discussed where the queen was blocking this square so the king couldn't come out? Well, it's the same idea. I'm making sure that this square is covered by a bishop, and it is. So we're just going to go here, and then we're going to take the rook. And that's a mower. Okay, same idea. This is the same formation as before, except the king is not here. It's over here. But otherwise, same exact formation, and this is why you got to do your tactics. So I haven't even looked at the black pieces yet, but I already know this will end in a back rank mate on H1. So that would be here. Okay, now I'm going to look at the black pieces Okay, that was pretty simple. Just like that. And I already know I want to put a queen on h1, so this should be pretty simple. I want to be clear. I solved this without even seeing the black pieces. I could cover up the bottom of the board like this, and still get this one right. So back rank formation. Let's figure out what black has. Black now has a queen and a rook that can attack a square. So the first thing I look at is, can I go here? No, I cannot. There's a rook guarding that rank. So I'm going to go like this instead. And now I'm going to put 2 pieces on the back rank. 1, 2, mate. Okay, kissing queen. Why? Because it's like a naked king. There's no king. There's no pieces in like any of these squares to help guard. So the first thing I looked at was this. The king runs away, as we discussed earlier, and there's no way for me to follow up with a dark square bishop or a rook. The square is covered by the bishop. So instead, I just want to go like this. This is my second option, and it happens to be checkmate. Very good. This one is very fun because I have a queen and a knight around a king. It looks like the king is running out of squares. In fact, the king can only move to 1 square, this one. So this looks like I'm just going to do a rundown. Basically, I'm going to run down the king like I'm on horseback and he's fleeing on his feet. So, because I'm faster than him. So it looks like I'll go check. Only move here. Phoenix's rule of the only move says if your opponent only has 1 move, then you're probably on the right track. And so the only legal move is here. So then let's just follow up with another check. And in fact, by the way, the first thing I looked at was not this knight move, but actually this queen move. Of course, that is problematic on account of both things taking it. That's fine. I didn't reject it. I just calculated ahead. Should I go there or not? No, they take it and I have no follow-up. Okay, reject that line. Now let's try queen, and I haven't even solved this yet. Check, check, only legal move. You can't go here, here, or here. Okay, because there's an or here, or here, or here, or here. Okay, so you have to go like this, and then it looks like I can just simply checkmate like that. Okay, and to be honest with you, if I'm being completely honest, I first looked at this, then this, then this, and I found it on the 3rd move. So check, check, and then I looked at here, it doesn't work, here, it doesn't work, but this one does, and I just saw that that's checkmate. How did I see this? Well, I just figure I'm chasing down the king. Hey, okay. What do we see here? It's kind of a naked king on account of there being almost nothing around. But there is a queen here that is helping out a little bit in the defense. Doesn't seem like that's relevant, though. So how about if we went check? And this aligns the 2 pieces. Now, I'm going to introduce to you Phoenix's rule of the furthest away piece. And furthest away piece is when you're attacking, you want to bring your furthest piece closer. If you have 2 pieces close to a king, like this and this, and you move one of them, you still have 2 pieces. But if I move a piece that is not attacking a king to attack the king, now I've got 3. I'm adding another attacker, and it turns out you can just fill in squares that way. So Phoenix's rule of the furthest away piece says calculate with this piece first. Why is it farther away? Well, this rook is attacking 3 squares next to a king. And this bishop is attacking 2 squares next to a king. Whereas this rook is attacking no squares next to the king at all. So that's why he's farthest away. He's not attacking the king. He doesn't control squares around the king. So let's get him in closer. Check. Only legal move, because he can't go here, is, of course, Phoenix's rule of the farthest away piece. Or excuse me, Phoenix's rule of the only move. And that rule says, of course, if you're checking a king and he's got only 1 legal move, it's probably the right answer. I've already solved it, so we're going to go like this. Check. And now I see that the king can't move anywhere. Okay? The king can't move at all. And what that means is any check is mate. So we want to go like this, check. Because this rook is guarding 3 squares around the king. And this bishop is guarding 2 squares around the king. So Phoenix's rule of the farthest away piece says move this guy. And that's checkmate. Simple. Okay, a simple back rank bump here. We want to deliver a piece to the back rank because we have a back rank formation. This square is covered by a rook and queen, so it is a back rank formation. We've got this kind of like T-shape looking thing. Something like that. It's like a upside down T. And so what we want to do is we want to check the king off of this square. So we're going to go check. And now you see how there's only 1 defender on the square, the rook. We can go like this. and like this, mate. If you simply know kissing queen, farthest away piece, check only move, and if you know probably the back rank formations, then in the back rank bump, which is what I just showed you, the back rank bump, then you can pretty much just get to 30 puzzles without knowing a whole lot more. Otherwise, all you need to know is the rules of chess. Okay, now that we're at 14, chances of us hunting the king are low. We probably want to win material somehow. So all we have to do is look at what is threatened and what is attacked. And I can see that we basically have... All right, I'll teach you the rules in order. Step 0, as I like to call it, is count the material. You start the game with the same material, so it shouldn't be step 1. You should just, from the second you sit down, before you've even played a move, you should know the material count. It starts the game as even, and you should be keeping track of it at every move. So here we have 4 pieces for black and 4 for white. We have 2 rooks each side. We have a king and a queen. Pawns don't always matter unless they're going to promote, and they're not going to promote here. So the pawns are even anyway. So next thing we do, check for targets. Targets are pieces that are undefended or defended, attacked and defended equally. So we have a target because it's undefended. We have not a target. A lot of people might be tempted to calculate this. You don't have to. You can reject it immediately because it's defended twice and attacked only once. So it's not going to end up being the target. It might be the target later, and I think it probably is, but we aren't going to be taking that anytime soon. Not on this move, not on the next move. So we have 1 target. We have a knight that is under attack. It is attacked twice and defended only once. And finally, I'm going to introduce to you Phoenix's rule of the over-attacked piece, which says if a piece is attacked twice, this is only good for puzzles. Attacked twice and defended only once, chances are you take that piece first. You pretty much start the puzzle there. And there's a reason for that. It has to do with the way that the computer has selected certain positions to be puzzles. These all came from real games. If there were not an over-attacked piece that was takeable, the puzzle would have started on the previous move of this position from the actual game. This position would not have made it into the puzzle database. It would have been whatever came before this. So for that reason, that's why the rule is very special to particularly chess.com puzzles. But there you go. So it's a good thing to have in a real game, but it's not like guaranteed like it is in a puzzle. So we are attacking this twice. And this one is illegal. You can't take with the pawn. It is pinned to your king. So that's not going to be the right answer. So that leaves only one move possible, according to my rules, and that is taking this knight. So let's just figure that out. We have a target here and a target here, and we have a king is always a target. If you capture him, you win the game. That's why he's always a target. Finally, I want to introduce you to one other thing. You can look through pieces to find targets. This rook sees this rook. And if you notice that, it is attacked once and defended only once. That makes it a target. And my rooks are also a target too, for the same reason. The black rook attacks the white rook through the other pieces. So let's calculate. Take. And now this queen can be threatened. Probably take and take. And we've won a piece. And I think if this rook takes the knight, we just simply take that rook. And we're up in exchange as well. So I don't see any other way to get out of this. I think we're just going to take a piece. And then we're going to take this bishop if the queen moves away. So we'll take a knight. And suddenly this becomes a target. 1 and 1. The knight is gone. So if the queen goes like back to here or something, we will just simply take the bishop. There we go. Let's take that. And that's all we needed to do. Win a piece. Okay. What can we do on this one? Windmill tactic. When you have a rook on the 7th, there are a few things you can do. One of them is you can take all the stuff. And that wins a position. The second thing you can do is back rank mate. That doesn't work here. And finally, the third thing you can do is you can go like this and then retreat down a file. And that can lead to checkmates because the king will be stuck in a corner. So I think we're going to go check. And then the king is going to go here. And then we're probably going to have to figure out a way that we can check the king here. And I like probably going back to this square first. Seems the most likely. Now, my queen is attacked, so we have to attack something higher. I call it climbing the ladder. If our queen is attacked, we need to attack either their queen or their king. All right. And I forgot to tell you out loud, although I did it in my head. Step 0, count the material. We're even material. So we're actually down a pawn, but it's not important in this situation. So targets. That pawn is a target. It is attacked twice, defended once by the king. The king is a target because it's always a target. And this rook is a target because 1 and 1. I believe earlier I just like hypothesized or dreamt that we would play rook here and then move the rook. And of course, because I did what I'm supposed to do and Phoenix taught me to do, it's me, I counted the targets and I noticed that the rook is a target, which gives me the solution right away. Check. Didn't let me show it. I will show it to you here. We're going to go like this. And the answer is, of course, check. King only move. And then we are going to take this rook. Why? Because it was a target and I removed a defender of it. That makes it undefended. That's why targets are so important. If you just make one subtle change to the position, suddenly it's an undefended piece. If it was attacked and defended once, you just brush off the defender, ta-da, hanging piece. That's why targets are so critical. Check, block, and then I prefer rook mate because it's a double check. Okay. Back to puzzles. I think we're going to get to 30 before we cut this off. I like to get to 30 because that's when it kind of starts. I actually have to start really thinking about it. I do more talking than I do thinking in these positions. So how do I break this one down for you? I guess we're just going to look at the fact that the king has no squares it can move to. None of those are legal. So any check is mate. And first thought was this, and then the queen would take it, and or the bishop would take it, and then we'd take back. That's okay. But I'm wondering, what if I go check here? And then the king would move here, and then I could go like check from the rook or something like that, and then the king would have to go like this, and then I could go check, and then it would take me, and that seems wrong. So I think it was probably my first move. Check. If bishop takes, we take the knight, and it's mate. And check, and the queen takes, which was my first instinct. I think we take the queen. So now I'm just saying, okay, do we have any problems with that? So we are down a rook. So we have to, because step 0, count the material. So we do have to win at least a queen or king. And I think we're going to win the king because this queen is safe and this king is not. It's covered up. So we're going to go check. Okay, now, critical lesson for tournament play and playing online, if you have time, is if you think you have checkmate and you can't see why it's not checkmate, just spend your time looking at every legal move. That sounds incredibly hard. It's not. Just knock them out one by one. I don't care if there's 20 legal moves. You can churn through those in seconds. I'll show you how. Check. Okay, legal moves. Take and take. Can the king move? No. Can anything block the knight? No. So the knight must be captured. So queen takes it. Queen takes, I go here. Knight is hanging with check. Rook would have to save itself. It goes right here. And then I think I can just probably... I wonder if I can even promote. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm up a queen, and that's a winning position. We'll cash it in somehow. Probably by, like, we'll force the pawn home or something. So here, bishop takes, check. Any legal moves? No. Done. Checked them all. Now I'm going to pretend, well, I'm going to take the queen, but I'm going to pretend that, like, the bishop had taken here. What would I do? Could even go like, okay, does this protect the knight? No. Does this protect the knight? No. Does this protect the knight? No, 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 yes. And I would just solve all of these. This doesn't stop it. I'm still winning. And that's the way I would just go through all the legal moves to see if I actually have checkmate. So right there, we don't care about that. I'm going to make the only legal move I can, and we win. Okay. Targets. Sorry, step 0, count the material. Material is even. I am actually, no, sorry, we're missing 2 pawns. They are missing 2 pawns. Otherwise, we have 2 bishops and knight, 2 rooks and a queen. And so we are materially even. Okay, targets. 1. It is attacked twice, defended once. Phoenix's rule. says probably take that. It is attacked twice, defended once. So I think we basically have to follow Phoenix's rule of the hanging piece or the over-attacked piece and say we take that. Okay, but anyway, target. That's it. This rook is for once defended, so it's not a target. Be very aware of the rooks in the corner. Many tactics just are about like check, 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 and then we take a rook in the corner. So many are like that. So be aware of rooks in the corner that are hanging. Okay. If we take with the knight, we lose a queen, and we cannot get their queen, so nothing matters. I don't care what else. We're not checkmating, so it doesn't matter. If we take with the bishop, we're up a piece. They must get a piece back, so they will probably take my knight. I will take their queen, because their queen is hanging. Here, I'm up a piece. They can take my bishop. I will take their bishop, and I am still up a piece. There's no way for them to get a piece back. This looks pretty good. I don't see any reason why we should delay any further. Take my bishop. I take yours. I'm up a piece. Okay. How did I know they were going to do that? Like take all the pieces and such? It was simply because I knew that they were going to continue to trade until they couldn't trade anymore, because that's the way tactics work. They're trying to get a piece back. So they're just going to take a piece. And then they're going to test me. Turns out it's easy. I just take the piece again. So that's why I knew the bishop would take here. They're trying to get a piece back. And if I blunder like h6 or something, then the material's even. So that's why computers like to take stuff at the end of a puzzle. Okay. Target, 1 and 1. Target. And we're up a knight, but they have many pawns. So what we basically have to do is win some pawns, and then we can win the game that way. Because these two things are targets, I'm going to simply look at how I can attack them both. So this pawn is holding up the rook, and this is why targeting is so important. If I can simply remove that, then it's not 1-to-1. One attacker, one defender. It's one attacker against nothing. So it looks like I'm going to go check, and they're going to move, and then I will take the rook, because it's a double attack. So you see how their king was attacked because it was a target, and their rook was attacked, and I helped to attack it because it was a target. So my eyes just went to these two squares. I attacked them both. I'm going to take your rook now because it's hanging. That is how you create hanging pieces, the targeting method. And now I'm just going to take a pawn. Again, why did it take my knight? It was trying to see if I would hang a rook. I'm not going to. I would take a pawn. Okay. What can we do in this one? Step 0, count the material. It's a little bit more complicated. We have a rook for 2 bishops, but we have a ton of pawns in the middle, but we're threatened with checkmate. So we have to try to figure out how to get out of this checkmate. I'm wondering if we're going to go check here. Check, and then bishop takes it, and then we go check, and then the king moves up, and I don't have anything. For once, it's kind of difficult. I do have to defend this mate here. Can I figure out a way? Aha. Okay, I got it. I had to scan the board. As soon as I said, can I figure out a way, I pretty much saw it. We're going to take advantage of the naked king. Okay, there's no pieces in the way except this bishop. This bishop, and I guess you could say this bishop can come back or something to defend. So basically, we just have to figure out how do we get rid of this bishop. Well, there's a pawn there. So I'm going to go check. Now we see that these are all illegal, and the queen covers this diagonal, and the knight covers these 2 squares. So one legal move for the king. That's almost Phoenix's rule of check, only move. There are 2 other moves, though. Pawn up, we take it. Bishop over, we take that. And that would be mate. So we're going to go ahead and do it. See, Phoenix's rule. So this move was made immediately. So this is almost Phoenix's rule of, I guess they're both mate, of check, only move. So I checked. There was like only one move that hold off mate, check. This move was mate. So this was the only move. And now it turns out this is mate. So this one is super easy. This is called an F2, F7 weakness. Anytime I see this pawn moved, again, I haven't even looked at the black pieces. I have no idea what black pieces I have. I'm looking into the camera and I only looked at the white king and I have 2 square. So I automatically know just right away that one of 2 things is going to happen. I'm either going to go here or I'm going to go knight mate. Okay, well that solves that. And now I looked at the black pieces. I see a knight. There you go. So patterns. I mean, this is how I get good at chess. This is how anybody gets good at chess. Just learn these patterns. I only looked at this stuff. And then I said, okay, it's either going to be bishop, queen on this diagonal, or knight here. Then I said, is this pawn moved? Yes, it is. So this square is weak. So I'm going to just go ahead and checkmate. And I didn't even look at this stuff. Haven't even looked down here. Patterns. If you know them, you know them. Back rank bumping. Yeah. One. We already discussed the back rank bump. I'm removing a defender this square. Check. Mate. Okay, double knights. How did two knights? I guess you could say I saw this immediately. I haven't really looked at the rest of the board, but how did two knights mate a king? Very simply, it's a repeating pattern. They can either go knight, knight, and then what will happen is because these two squares are covered by those two knights, let's say these two are covered, and then here and here. Because of that, the back rank is empty. The king can't move. The king becomes smothered. This rook must take a knight, and then it's a back rank mate. So that's my pattern analysis. Now I look and I see I have a rook to do that. So that's probably the answer. The other way that it can happen is that you go knight check here. Then the pawn is forced to take it, and then you somehow check on this file. Check. The only legal move is king in the corner, and then a knight comes in and checkmates. So you can see that that second pattern is in my brain, but has nothing to do with this position. I simply know that based on these guys and these guys. That's it. That's all I'm looking at. I don't have anything that can check on the file, but the fact that it comes to my brain immediately that I can go take, check, take, and it's mate, should tell you that these patterns are super, super important. So we're going to do the first pattern. We're going to go check, and we're going to go check, and then we're going to go check, and now finally we're going to checkmate. Mate and 4. Okay. What do we have here? We have a hanging, we have a naked king. Are there any pieces that can come close? I see I have a rook already. What else do I have? I have a queen. Step 0, count the material. I'm down 2 pawns. There's 5 pawns to 3. We each have a rook and queen. So chances of this being correct or this being correct are very high. I assume it's going to be here. It doesn't have to be, but I think it is. The difference is usually, do you want to come onto the file on this square or this square? Depends. That's all you really have to know. If you're on the same diagonal, usually the main consideration is which square do I want to land on the file. So I'm going to go check. He's going to go here. I'm going to go probably, I guess I can go here in this case. From this angle. That would be different if there were a pawn here or some other piece there, or if the two squares were farther apart, like these two. Like if I were comparing queen here to queen here for some reason, then I would not be able to access the same square. So, and this square cannot go here. A queen here can go here, but a queen can't go from here to here. So what are we going to do here? It looks like I'm probably going to go check. King here, king back, king here, only legal move. And then I don't really actually see a mate there. Check this way, probably. And my instinct tells me I'm mating, but I don't actually see a mate. But it's probable. So what else can we do then? Is there a way I can like go like this and fork this and mate somehow? No. What if I check and he goes back? Then I go check here, and he goes here, and then I go check here, then he goes here, then I go mate. So here, 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 mate, because I'm backed up by the rook. So all I have to do is figure out this mate. And how do I maintain control of that square while also checking a king? I probably want to use the other. That's it. Phoenix's rule, the farthest away piece comes to save the day again. Okay, if he gone here, it's actually check here because this rook is no longer attacking as many squares around the king. You notice, okay, I want you to imagine the king here. Notice that the queen is attacking all these squares and the rook is only attacking this guy. So he's the weakest piece, so I brought him in. Check, and it turns out that that's going to be here, mate. Okay, so now we go here. Now I go here, and then next move is mate. Okay. Cross-checking, easy one. Queen endgame. A cross-check is when you answer a check with a check. I'm going to go here, check. I did this in a game. You're going to have to use your imagination for this. I have a queen here, and I have a knight here, and the kings are here and here. So these are the kings. Okay. My opponent put their white queen exactly where this white queen is. And I answered it by pulling the knight back, check. And this knight was hanging to the queen. The queen could just take it and check me, except for the fact that I had discover checked his own king. And that was the critical thing that allowed me to win a piece, because I had actually taken a piece on e2. And when he checked me, I pulled the knight back. It was his best move, but it didn't work. I had already won the piece. And he resigned about 10 moves later. And that was beating an expert. He was a 2,000 rated player. And, it still happens. So what's a cross check? It's when I go like this, check, and then check. Okay, what then? Well, I'm going to run this pawn up the board. And that's a fairly easy thing to do. Oops, I almost misclicked. Bam. Just like that. Okay. Rook checks. This is a common thing. You go check, and then the rook has to block. Like, let's say the rook is far away. The rook came over and blocked the check. Then you go check, and the rook goes here. And then you use the diagonal power of the queen to dominate the rook. Check. For some reason, they only gave me the final move of this formation. Boop. Imagine if the rook could move diagonally. It would just slide diagonally and block the check. But it can't now. Mate. Mate in 1 feels like that's inappropriate use of the 25th puzzle, but whatever. Check here. And then are we going to go rook check, take, mate? Yeah, we are. Check. The reason I saw that is because I want to reveal the rook down the file. Oftentimes you want to have pieces coordinating at cross lines like this, not coordinating on the same line. It could depend. When you have open squares, like all of these open squares, you typically want your pieces to be working at crossways with each other, where they're not blocking each other because they have access to so many squares. When pieces are blocked up, like imagine this king were castle and there were pawns here and this rook is over here. And so like all of these have white pieces. That's when you want to have a battery. A battery is when two pieces are aligned in the same direction. For example, a rook, a queen, another rook is a battery. Because that way you want to crash in multiple times onto the same squares. So little rule, open squares, cross your pieces. Closed up squares, blocked squares, you want to line them up. Okay, anyway, this is mate in 2. It's not. I messed up and I got lucky. I didn't even see that queen there. I'm talking too much. Well, now what am I going to do? I wasn't thinking. This happens a lot in tournament games too. You think your opponent's going to do one thing. I thought it was going to be king takes, and then they do another thing, and now you're like, well, I don't even know why I'm here. What was I even doing? There's this dangerous check here, so we do have to be careful of that. I'm going to guess I'm going to bring this queen to right here. Check. Let's see what happens here, here, here. Knight, queen, queen, mate. Well, not mating, but I will finish the game easy. Check here. Take it. Check here. We said here. Check here. Sorry, here. Queen blocked again. Same thing. And that's it. That's all of the answers. Here we take. And if king moves to any of these squares, I believe this square, we're going to go knight check and win a queen. Oh, you chose that one. Wonder if I have a mate. What if they went here and I go here and they go here? Is there a mate? I know I can knight check, queen take, king takes. Oh, I see. The reason is my original thought was but it's queen against knight and rook, or bishop and rook. That's not totally winning. And then the more I look at it, I realize, well, the king can't move and it's blocking the rook. So white doesn't actually have a rook. And then I will go I'll go like check or something to win the bishop next. Very, very quickly. Okay. So anyway, I guess I'll just win your queen. Yeah? Win the queen? Yes. Cool. Awesome. That is an X-racer. Back rank formation. I saw the king with the pawns. That's how I did that. Okay, this is what I was talking about before. Remember when I said I knight sack here? Or I would go like, I would take this with a knight and the pawn would take back and then suddenly I can check on the file. And now what I said in that position was if the king goes here, I go knight takes this f7 and it's checkmate. It's not exactly true here because I don't have a knight, but I have other pieces. So check here. And then how about if I go rook over and you can't stop mate, right? Yeah. Yeah, the only way you can stop mate is a rook comes here and then I would just take it. So let's go rook. Check. Okay, you go that way. Then I think, So yeah, I'd said around 30, I have to start thinking. I typically don't get any wrong. I just have to start thinking, and I'm pretty sure it's this mate. But there's so many legal moves. But Phoenix's rule of I think I have mate says just play every legal move. Okay, I think it's queen here. Or sorry, bishop there. Okay, every legal move. You ready? This, mate. This. So this is the move here is rook g8. So we're gonna say bishop h7. If a4, rook g8 mate. Pawn, rook g8 mate. Bishop here, 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 or here. All the rook g8 checkmates. If the rook goes here or here, it's still rook g8. Is still mate. The only thing that's not mate. Okay, I found one. Rook here. Then I just simply take it, I believe. I don't have a mate. Oh, it's even better than that. Oh, that's cool. It'd actually be check, king, rook, and now I'm attacking a bishop. Nice. Not nice. They'll promote a pawn. Okay, fine. I'll just take a rook. Whatever. Then they go here. Knight. Okay, it's definitely the right move. How do we stop this pawn? I would just take it. That's what I'll do. Okay, we have to be careful because I can mess this up. For instance, if I take this pawn, they go here, and then how do I actually stop them from... Oh, it's mate. I have to make the mate threat again. If I go check and they go here and I go take, check, and they take, and I take the rook, it's actually not good. They will push past. What I have to do is I have to keep this as a mate threat, not as a win the rook threat. So let's make a mate threat. I'm going to screw that up, but I thought it through. So, okay, this should be simple. This is a hanging piece. Let's check the material. I am up a pawn. So I solved it. All right. I was going to say I basically want to trade down material so that I have an extra pawn. But what I'm going to do instead is check for the targets. Here's a target. Here's a target. This rook is undefended. And this bishop is a target. Okay, this rook is not a target. It is defended and not attacked. So how can we put all three of those squares together? I'll give you a second to think about it if you haven't found it already. But because we counted material, we realized what we needed to do. Trade down. Because we saw the targets, we know which squares are important. So how can I take advantage of this target, which is attacked once and defended none? Now do you see it with these three targets? Do you think it's bishop here? And then if they take my rook, I go check? It's not. No, instead it's the other way around. Check. Now, look whose rook is attacked. Check. I get my rook back. I'm up a bishop. Okay, targeting. That's how you do it, everybody. Find the targets. Okay. I think that if I go check right here, there's only one legal move. Phoenix's rule of the one legal move says that's got to be the answer. But how do we actually finish it off? I think the idea is that this rook is almost trapped. So I think I'm going to go check king here. And I'm actually going to go bishop check to the rook. And the rook can't come out because I'll take it. And if you check me here... I can't come back to take my bishop. Okay, let's count the material. I'm down a bishop. I need to win a rook or queen or king. Okay. I also have this rook here. That's the right answer. Check here, here, here. And then probably, like, you can't go here because mate, queen mate. All right, we're going to play it. Solved it. Okay, and now I think I'm going to go here, 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 or something like that. Okay, I'm going to win my bishop back. Because if king moves here, what would I have done? Probably this bishop, this queen check, and then mate. Okay, cool. That would have been interesting right here. If the king moves here, I would go check. And if the king goes up, I'm going to go Matitsky, I think. Check. King goes back, and I go mate. Here. Here. Okay. Complicated. Never mind. If the king went there, I would probably check here and then mate on that square. Okay. Anyway, that wasn't the move. This was the move. We're going to take that guy, right? Yep. Okay. That was the escape square. How do I defend my rook while also attacking something? I think I go like this, check. If you take a rook, I take a rook. No, we don't want to do that. We want to go check here, save the rook. Okay. That was a little bit tough, but that was our 31st puzzle. I always say I'm going to stop at 30, and then I get roped into another one. Oh, this one looks cool, though. Almost a smothered mate. But I think we're going to go either knight here, or something like that. Can I go knight here? Not quite. Well, this is an over-attacked piece, so we're probably going to take it. All right. Phoenix's rule of the over-attacked piece says we're going to take there. I'm going to guess we go like this and get pinned. So we're going to take with the queen. And if we lose a knight, we take a queen. And then they have to take a queen. And then we take back and we're up a piece. Cool. Yeah, that's got to be it. Right? Okay, well, we're going to think about this next time. I'm pretty sure it's queen takes bishop. I really like doing puzzles with you guys. The last videos did not get very much attention. This is my 11th attempt to break my own record. I set it during, I think, the 5th one or something like that. But I definitely enjoy teaching you guys tactics, how to get better at chess, how to think through chess position. So if you did, please go hit the like button so that you get a lot more of these videos. There's a lot more on my channel, a lot more to come. I have chess every other day, and I have Risk on the in-between days. If you've never gotten to that board game, that one is a lot more strategically deep than you might think it is. So, I am Phoenix. I had fun. I hope you had fun. I'll see you for the next one.